and Jana was formed by changing our names. And I always feel so nice that what did you contribute to the organization as an accounting firm? Because we don't have any capital. I can work wherever I have. In fact, I don't even need a laptop to work. I can just carry my pen and start working. So what did you give up to start what was your capital? We gave up our names. What more do you require to start the organization? So the first day was a very funny day. No office, no work, no name, families to run. So I had worked in PwC for a good number of years, then felt I can only do well for myself and joined another small firm. Unfortunately, we got locked up there for 8 years. And 8 years, year after year, every year March comes. And the boss and sir will tell, okay, this year I'll not make you partner. Next year I'll make you partner. So I thought it's okay. We'll wait for little more time. So it went on from almost 1996 to 2003. It went on every year. He calls in the 31st of March, and he doesn't even show us our books of accounts. He just still sign here, and he'll give both of us a check of 50,000 rupees each, and that was almost like a Vidhan Sauda for each of us. Take the money and scoot. And we always keep thinking, okay, next year will come, he'll make us the partner, and went on, waited. 2002 was a defining year. He came out and told, this year also I'll not make you a partner. Sir, we have waited for 8 years and we have gotten so much business. We have built in so many practices. I don't think it is fair. So as a senior colleague in the office of 10 people, I don't know what is the sales. I don't know when I'll become a partner. I don't know what is the net profit out of 8 people. And sir never used to give us all claims because he knew we were very smart. So when the client is going to get attached to me, he never used to give us the claims. So very, very tough environment. We both resigned and told sir we would like to resign. Then he told Engena Ponga in Tamil. That means go wherever you want. I said, okay, we came out and surprisingly none of the clients came because he was a brilliant guy. None of the clients came with us. I was married, had a son, and had a bike, motor kinetic Honda with me, and no home. And unfortunately, that year, Dad lost the house. He lost the house, and one day when I came from office, Mom was crying as if it is a Kannada or a Telugu movie, where a truck had come and they were taking the belongings away, and well, what happened? Then mom told the house is lost. Right? Who can do that? How can you do this? There is a law, there is an appeal. And we realized Dad has got all the laws, all the appeals, and he has lost everything. We didn't know anything. So the same time, everything went wrong. Almost it happened in the 10-day period. We lost our profession, we lost the money, we lost the house, and no source of income. That is how Guru and Jana was born. We sat down and told, what do we do? So by that time, I had moved to a rented house and told, what do we do? Okay, let's do whatever little is possible. Let's start some accounting work. So by that time, we had already lost name. We had given up our names. So let us do some accounting work. Nobody is doing computerized accounting. We coined that computerized accounting in sometime in 2000 because there was no, chartered accountants even today don't have great computers. In 2000, when I bought the computer, it was a talk of the town. This guy lost his practice. This guy lost his house. And on top of it, he has bought a ₹1,70,000 computer in 2000. And I had a kinetic Honda, which was a very dear thing for me, but I had to give up that to buy this computer. And that kinetic Honda also came as an amazing investment. If you go to the beautiful billion-dollar company, Guru.com, that was my domain. Those days, there was no internet, but through my pen pal, I could block that domain because I felt one day it would be fantastic. So Guru.com, if I had it today, maybe it was worth a few $1 million. I could have traded it off. But that time, my pen pal, I wrote a letter. This is what has happened. I have this domain name which you gave me that so many years ago. Can I do something with this domain name? So she told, you can sell this domain name. And I was very keen to buy a kinetic Honda. So I sold Guru.com. And that's how my 20,000 bucks came for the Kinetic Honda. So, and that also, that Kinetic Honda I had to give up when I started Guru and Jana because I had to buy a laptop, I buy a desktop. Then we told we'll go to Yeshwantpur yards, and in the Yeshwantpur yard, we'll try to sell computerized accounting. So what did we do? We told 175 rupees per month. I will do your bookkeeping. So we'll help you do this computerized accounts. Then these guys came up, and as if this Mandi merchant sitting there, they're having global IP on their books of accounts and bills and documents. They told, we don't want to give it to you because you don't have an office. So we will not give you passbook, and we will not give you your bank statement. I told, fine, let's try to do something. We guys told, my partner had a TVS moped. So those days the desktops were almost half the size of a room. So, and we didn't want to leave the desktop in the Mandi merchants thing. So we took the desktops, went to their offices. For 175 bucks, we used to sit in the cash counter, and 100 Hamalis will be behind us to see what is happening in the computer. We did the accounting and came. Fortunately, even today we have almost 100% of those relationships. And most of the Mandi merchant relationships we could spin off to Udan, whom we do some work. We could also introduce them to Jumbo Tail, where we do a lot of work for them. We introduce them to Big Basket, where we do a lot of work to Big Basket. We introduce them to ID Fresh. We do a lot of work to ID Fresh. So it's been a long journey from then to here. That is how Guru and Jana started. That was one defining phase in life. So far, so good. Everybody in sync.
Yes. We are all eager to know the whole concept of self-management. How did you bring? What does trust mean to you?
Absolutely.
How do you recruit people? What is the whole
I was
management
actually
process you
reaching there
follow?
only, Rajesh. Where I
Awesome,
was coming
awesome.
is, so if you look at the background when I was in my first firm, there was no trust. The guy never used to give me data. There was no money. There was no growth. I was not made a partner for 8 years, and we were pushed down hard. And if you see the next part of it, clients never trusted us. Clients never gave us data, and we were trying to do some things which were maverickish. We just wanted to go to the computerized place and do something. So if you see the entire fulcrum of our exercise of an organization management, we didn't know anything how it has to be built up. We just learned it. The only single motivating factor would be, I don't want my Guru and Jana should to be like my earlier firm. It cannot be modeled like that in the sense when I used to enter the office, when boss comes, we are all equals. We had to stand up. It was an 8-member organization. And one day I was working on the computer. We had only one computer. I sat in his chair. I was ridiculed to the hell. That was crazy. And every day I had a feeling that should I go to the office? Why should I go to the office? I'm extremely brilliant. I'm a chartered accountant. I'm a cost accountant. I'm a company secretary. Why do I have to go to the office? So we had to structure an organization where things were based on the past. Past was very bad. So when we did Guru and Jana, for the first day, Jana and myself met, and we had no files, no people. I always keep joking and telling, which is actually a fact. First day, no money, no work. So 5 days there was no money, no work, or 5 months. After some time, no money, little work. Some people trusted us and gave us some work. After some time, maybe after 3 years, lot of work, very less money. Then we reached a phase we had money, we had work. And I'm sure you'll many of the gray haired ones here would agree with me. Possibly we have reached a stage today where I have a lot of work and a lot of money. But the next stage where I'm almost reaching there is no work. Because when you build an organization, as the head of the organization, I really don't have work. But I have a lot of money. So the transition from no money, no work to the transition of a lot of work, but no work to a lot of money and a lot of name is a fabulous transition. And we learned it very hard to make it as a self-governance office because we had seen all the bad. So the first day when we created the office with Jana and myself, we told, let us have an appointment letter. What nonsense. We are owners. Why do we need an appointment letter to the owners? No, Jana, we have to have. I'm sorry, we have to have. So he signed my appointment letter and I signed his appointment letter. Then the second thing we did when we had the offices, which we follow as a practice even today, we will not buy different chairs. It may sound very rudimentary. What is their chairs got to do with this? We are not going to buy different chairs, Jana, because those days client's chair would be there and our chair would be there. We bought the same chair. There cannot be a different chair. Today also, when you walk into Guru and Jana, it's a lockless office. We don't lock our offices. I think Rajesh and Vandana had been to our office. We have in one building, which we call as Mataram, and the other building is called Vande. So both the buildings put together is Vande Mataram. 7 floors are there. There's not a single lock, and there's not a single paper, single draw. Everything is pure white. So from that day, we decided let's not have chairs in the office which are different. So if Jana got a chair, Guru got a chair. We had a boy by name Kiran. He came in as a cleaner. Today he heads one of our large verticals. 17, 18 years since Kiran came. He came in as a cleaner and today he heads the corporate accounting solutions with 40 people team. He earns around 50 lakhs a year and so on and so forth. But he has been with us for 18 years. Then we also created a practice that as soon as we enter the office, when we both were there, and Jana used to ridicule everything. Guru, what nonsense you are doing. No CA firm does all this. What a stupid thing you are doing. So we went on and told Jana, every day we come to office, we have to come at the same time. We can't come in different times. Why? Now, when we enter the office, I don't want to see an empty office. So we have to come at 9:55, wait outside. All three of us open the office together. So we told, okay. And being Jana, you will all tikla kalsane madodu, In Kannada, they tell, bagal ka kaam hi karta hai. And we created a virtue telling that, okay, as soon as we enter the office, we have to do a high five. Initially, it looks very awkward. It looks so awkward telling that chartered accountants coming and doing a high five. But over the years, we realized that gave us a lot of energy in the office. Today, the same practice of a high five has become an anthem. We have an office anthem as soon as we start, where we tell, let us do right. And we'll all work as a team. It's some sort of a reassurance in our mind. And we wrote a small anthem and we used to sing that. Then somebody came and told, this is very boring. We'll give a Bollywood twist to this anthem. We'll create a beautiful song around this and get a person to sing. We'll make a jingle out of it. So we got somebody, and today we have revised the anthem 3 times because now the organization has become younger. Our average age is 24. So we wanted a little bit of husky voice. We wanted a little bit of English tone, English music, and Bollywood tone. So we have created the anthem. Even today, we all assemble in the morning when we are working from home. 9:59, the bell goes in the laptop. We all enter our Microsoft Teams. The anthem plays. We all stand in each of our houses. And everybody is looking forward to the anthem. And we are hearing this anthem for maybe past 10 years. And we are hearing it even today. And possibly we are the only CA firm in the country where we start with an anthem, which is a sort of a pledge telling that, because we are a profession which is extremely different. I can convert a truth to a lie and a lie to a truth. It's no big deal for me to do it. So in 2008, we used to have a huge pride in telling what is 2 plus 2. And an engineer used to tell 4. A super engineer used to tell 3.9999 something. And a chartered accountant in me used to tell me what do you want, I'll make it and give it to you. So what is 2 plus 2? You want me to make it 8, I'll make it and give it to you. So we were very clever in numbers. So we used to play around left, right, and center. Then 2009 was a turning point in life. All of you are from NSR Cell. I owe a lot to IIM Bangalore. In 2009, I had reasonably good money to me. And I also had got a spiritual teacher by name Mahatreya. And both of us concurred with each other, telling that let's go back to school. So I took a sabbatical in 2009. And to build, and that time when I took a sabbatical, to tell you in numbers, we were 35 people. That was the strength of the organization. And we didn't have a chartered accountant. Only myself and Jana were the 2 chartered accountants and my partner Reddy. We were 3 of them. And we didn't have any senior people. And our turnover was around 45 lakhs. so I came out of IIM, and that was the first time Professor Vasanthi Srinivasan told an organization should have a vision. What crap is this? What is she talking here? How can we have a vision as an organization? I have a vision to buy a house. I have a vision to buy a car. What is the stupid organization vision? Because in an accounting profession, we are only taught to read between lines. We are never taught to build an organization. So if you look at even your own chartered accountancy firms 10 years back, 12 years back, 15 years back, there used to be mom pop stores. There used to be 2 chartered accountants, 3, and in the entire country there were hardly any. And you can't find a CEO office in excess of 40 people, other than the big 4, of course, other than the PwC, the Deloittes, and E&Y, and any of those people. There were no big firms. And in Bangalore, the biggest of the chartered accountancy firms could have 40 people. They are the doyens of Bangalore, and in Chennai would have 50 people. So the IIM dean that time told, for building a CA firm, why do you want IIM? So why do you want to join a management course for this? Then I told him, sir, if everybody is telling like this, how do I know how do I build my firm? Nobody has taught me how do I build my firm. That's how I met Professor Vasanthi for the first time in IIM, and she told vision. So we came back to office, and we all sat down, and Kiran, that cleaner, janitor, and everything in the office, by that time had graduated to be a clerk. He was getting some 8,000 rupees, and my earning was possibly a 80,000 rupees a month, and so on and so forth. So we were okay. With 80,000, a lakh of rupees, I could buy my apartment. We were okay. We were happy. I thought life is come to a full circle. And maybe I was maybe 40. Thought, okay, I have another 10 years of practice. If I can keep a crore of rupees. So I went back to IIM and came back and told everything is settled. But at that stage, we came across, let's build a vision. Let's create something for ourselves. So we coined a vision statement called 20-20-20. What it means is, how do we make as an organization, how do we become the top 20 chartered accountancy firm by 2020? And in Bangalore, there were 4,000 firms, and we thought we were maybe 2,500 in Bangalore. And in India, there were around 240,000 firms by then. And maybe looking at our strength, because there's no real statistics that way those days, we were around 150,000 firm or 180,000 firm. So when I told 180 to top 20, that could be something quite stupid, and we were not brilliant. We were very, very average chartered accountants. Even today, we were just average chartered accountants. Then everybody told, "Kya karte hai, pagal hai? How do you think you will become the top 20 in the country? Do you know what is the turnover of top 20? In 2010, we felt the top 20 turnover would be 25 crores. Even today, CA firms are very small in India. Out of 3 lakh odd firms, 99% are proprietary entities. Only 1% is partnership firms, or 2% max. There is not even 100 firms in the entire country of 1.3 billion people where we have more than 10 partners. You can't even imagine how is this we can't build an organization doing one of the toughest courses in the country. So as soon as we decided, let us do 20-20-20, we told, let us change our management practices. Unless we change our practices, we can't reach where we are. So we told, let us change all the practices how we do. So we started achieving one by one, and people told, let us do some remarkable things. We'll open a German desk. We'll open a US desk. We'll open a Japanese desk. We will become experts in income tax raids. We'll become members of settlement commission, all sorts of things. Told you, there are people already who are doing this, but they have not become big. We have to do something what others have not done. And it has to be very simple. At that time, I approached Professor Vasanthi, and she told, Guru, have you heard about Dandi March? What is that? Gandhiji walked, and that is Dandi March. So she gave one sentence, you have to discover something like that. He didn't do anything much. There was no WhatsApp, no Facebooks of the world. He just took his stick and walked the entire country, walked along. So you have to think something like that if you have to do from your profession point of view. So we told, let us do one thing. Let us devise a simple formula which is against all the firms. When we go against all the firms, we'll go in a different direction. Because all the firms are one, we should be seen apart from all the firms. So that was the guiding principle. So first thing we created is the entire profession survives on fear. So we told, let us do exactly opposite what the world does. So the first thing a chartered accountant does is survive on fear. So what is the survival on fear is, if somebody like Balesh comes to me with an income tax notice, I'll have to put fear into him if I have to take money. Otherwise, I can't take money from him. So if you go to a doctor and he just sees the X-ray or he examines you clinically and tells, hey boss, you're okay, go home, you'll pay him $200 or $500. But if you go and tell, okay, take a lung X-ray, or then he comes back and tell, take a MRI scan, do the 40 tests and come, all of a sudden his 500 rupees has become 25,000 rupees. And that we have all experienced. So we thought, let us do one thing. Let us not build a profession on fear. Let us build it on transparency. We'll call ourselves as painkillers. Tax is a pain. We'll kill that pain for you. Accounts is a pain. We'll kill that pain for you. Compliance is a pain. We'll kill that pain for you. So we started functioning on the painkiller mode. And we told, let us not make a profession out of fear. Let us make a profession out of transparency. So we've started breaking down everything to simple steps. That was the first step we did. I'll come to tell you, most importantly, how did we make it happen? Thinking is very easy, but to make it happen is very difficult. Then we told, a chartered accountant's office is not a happy place. How many of you will go and tell, hey, I'm going to my tax consultant today, I'm so happy? Nobody is going to tell us, Sala, usko budde ka saath jana padega. He's going to break my head about all sorts of entries. So we told, if at all I have to create a happiness in the organization, let us create a happy organization. Then most of you would have got to see is people are very unorganized. We don't find papers, we don't have preparation, we don't come prepared to meetings. Because we have passed the toughest course in the country, we feel we can win over anything. I know section 17 bracket 6 explanation 2, I can win over anything. So generally, I am not talking as a rule, but majority of chartered accountants are very unorganized. So we told, if I can convert organized way of working, then life is very simple. Then we came and told, if you are a happy organization, you'll tend to be organized. What we mean by that is, suppose you're very happy that day when you go to work, your table is going to be clean. If you're very happy when you're going to your workflow will be there. If you fought with your wife and gone, that day is gone. You're not going to function that day properly. So we told, let us build a pillar of happiness. Next, we'll build a pillar of organized way. If I'm happy and if I'm organized, I can render fast services. Invariably, when you go to an accountant's office, you give the papers on May, he'll file the returns in August. He will call and tell, sir, last day, 7 days is there, you are not given me the statement. And you'll go back and tell, what's wrong with you? I gave it to you in May. What are you doing for so long? Sir, you don't know, law is changing. Every time we have a standard or answer, form didn't come, I was waiting for the form. Form comes in April. So everybody has a standard answer. So we told, let us give a surprise to the market. Let us be organized. Before they come, let us be organized. And we'll render fast services. We'll not make people wait. So we just build 3 pillars. Let us build a pillar of happiness. Let us build a pillar of being organized. And let us build a pillar of being fast. So these 3 pillars we did in 2010, we started with these pillars. So when we have to build an open and self-managed organization, first, if you have to be happy, you have to be very respectful to people. If you are not respectful to people, you are not happy. You're not going to build an organization which is happy. So we built some small techniques to make it respectful. One, we removed all the cabins in the office. There's not going to be a single cabin in the office. 2, we removed all the hierarchy structures in the office. We told there is nobody who's going to be called a partner, manager, senior manager, junior manager, nothing. We just use the word, let us be members of the organization. We are not employees of the organization. So we made it happy there. Third, we told, let us have a policy of silence. What I mean by a policy of silence is, if you're angry, you're going to raise your voice. Suppose I'm very angry with Ankita Sangvi, I'm going to raise my voice. And when I raise my voice, I'm disrespectful to her. So if I'm disrespectful to her, everything goes and she's not happy. If she is not happy, she is not going to be organized. So we told, let us make ourselves a silent office. So how do you make a silent office? We told we should not shout. If you shout, you're going to put a penalty in the office. Let us talk in comfortable tones with everybody. So we made it on that lines that we are a silent office where we don't have to shout at people. Then we brought in small things like, let us try to bring a simplicity in the organization where we all function with. So it can be as simple as creating a photo wall. Every employee who enters the office, every member who enters the office will get his photo. So every day he sees the photo as he climbs the wall. Rajesh has seen the office, Jai and Sandhya would have seen the office. It gives such a positive vibration in the office. So we created that sense of happiness. And accountants being accountants, we have timesheets. Timesheets is where we measure everything. We realize that timesheets is only fudging figures. The guy who is writing the timesheet is fudging, and the guy who is measuring the timesheet is also fudging. Nobody is going to, because we learned it from audit when we go to tech companies. Oh, kuch bhi likh le. You can't catch him. You can't catch him at all. And to write the timesheet, we realized for 417 people we are now, 10 minutes per day is 400 minutes. 4,000 minutes are gone per day. And in 1 month, we are losing 120,000 minutes. And nobody is seeing it. So we told, let's not breathe down anybody's neck. So we told no timesheets in the office. Remove timesheets. Then people told, if you remove timesheets, how do you hold people accountable? So we came up with a concept. All this is coming under the happy pillar. We told, let's not have a timesheet. Let's have experiences. You should have feelings. You're dealing with feelings of people. So we created a tool called Soch. What is Soch? Is a personal journal. Every day I write my diary. And when I write my diary, I feel nice about myself. What all I felt. Today I spoke in Cosmic. It was a beautiful experiences. I'll write today. But we turned it around a little. It's no longer a personal journal. The personal journal is seen by everybody. So even an office staff or a help in the office can see my journal, what Guru has written today. So we brought in a sense of introspection in the office. So people became much happier. Like this, we implemented some 20-25 parameters. One parameter is, in case you have to be happy, we told, let us remove hierarchy in the office. We don't have a hierarchy, then we got a lateral hire and everything fell apart. Told, if you are a partner of the office, why are you required to be designated that Guru, chartered accountant, partner? So you are hiding between your designation and your qualification. Why should Rajesh care whether I'm a partner, whether I'm a chartered accountant, cost accountant, whatever? Why should he care? He is caring whether he is feeling happy, whether his work is getting done, and he's going to pay me happily. Nobody will pay audit fees happily. He's going to pay me peacefully and happily. Oh, this guy took care of me. So we built that system telling that let us break this entire thing of happiness there. Then we brought in a culture telling that let's not go after sales. Sales has to come to us. So I read a story about Satyasri Sai Baba, the famous saint we had. We were doing the audit of this gentleman, and when we used to go to the audit, my boss used to take me to the audit. They had a very beautiful concept. I picked this concept from there, telling that all these ashrams function on donations, right? But if your donation has to be accepted, it has to be getting the blessings of Baba. So if Baba is keen to take your money, he'll take your money. Otherwise, he'll not take your money. So there used to be a sort of a ritual telling that Baba has accepted your 1 crore rupees. So I'm feeling happy about it. Yeah, somebody is feeling so happy of getting accepted. Something must be strange about this. So we told, let us do one thing. Let us pull sales to us instead of we going after sales. Let us not go after sales. We'll have to pull sales to us. So what is the best thing we have to do is tell no to sales. So sales targets were removed in the office. There were no sales targets, even though we wanted to become the top 20. Nobody is measured on sales. Nobody gets business for the office. So we went one step ahead, telling that no profiles in the office. Gurujana did not have a profile for a very long time. Let us not have any profile. If a business comes to the office, it is because of the merit of the office. If Guru gets the business, Guru gets the business, but he is not going to get any incentive for that. He'll only work on it, he'll get the salary. So everybody is measured on sales. The strangest thing people tell is, what is the sale of next year? How do you go to the sale of next year? See, already we have cut sales. Our sales is not based on fear. Our sales is based on ease. So when I bill Lytle, yes, I'm expensive when compared to others, but I'm not going to fleece you on account of income tax bribes or whatever. So we made it a super clean organization, not a single rupee bribe paid from 14th of February 2003 till today. And the second thing we told is, let us make sales figure open to hours. So today, anybody in the organization, what my earlier office did not give me, I told my account software is open. Anybody can see the proposals in the office. An article trainee can come and find out how much is Guru earning. Yeah, Guru is earning 5 crore of rupees. So what I can do about it? That's my worth. I'm taking that much money per year. But if an article tells I am earning only 6,000, yeah, you are doing, the government recommends only 6,000 to be paid to you. Government doesn't pay. I can't pay you more than that. That's the law. So books of accounts are transparent. Anybody can see. We have a proposals folder. Anybody can see the proposals. How much I am billing somebody like a Rahul Mohandas. The entire office can just open Rahul Mohandas proposal and see. But of course, Rahul Mohandas papers nobody can see, because that is governed by client confidentiality. So we built it. So this is the way we built an happy organization. Like this, I have thousands and thousands of things. Simple logic is, we don't have a dustbin in the office. Small things make a lot of difference. In each floor, we kept 2 dustbins. People told, are you mad? See, we are a paperless office. Why do you need dustbin? But more importantly, when dustbin is there in the 4th desk and somebody is there in the 1st desk, he'll walk to the 4th desk. There is momentum in the office. And he walks to the 4th desk, he's going to talk something to that fellow. He's not going to just throw and come back. Hey, yen marta idya? Kya kar rahe ho? Enna ban rahe? Camaraderie becomes very good. So we bought in that concept, telling that no dustbins. We removed intercoms in the full office. We knocked off intercoms in the office. In one office of such a small office of 25-30,000 square feet, what is stopping you from going up and talking to him? Why is it you want to have a intercom for everything? And we also started using white flags. What is the meaning of a white flag? Is somebody from ground floor sends the mail to the first floor. If the first floor fellow lifts the white flag, the ground floor fellow has to pay 100 rupees. So we started playing games like this in the office, and that worked. So like this, we created a very, very happy environment. The first day when a person walks into the office, he gets my mobile number. Anything is there, you can contact him. You don't have to fix an appointment, even though he's the head of the organization. The second thing we give him is something called as a leadership matrix. We give him a leadership matrix that you are an office boy, fine, but you have an option to become the head of the organization also. So we got a leadership matrix like this. I'll try to show it to you. So this is something what a first year person gets in the office. As soon as an office boy comes in, he gets it. How do you become? And what we do is we make Kiran run this session. Kiran is the guy who was cleaning the toilets in the office, and today he is heading a team of 40 people, earning a salary of 45-50 lakh of rupees. We make him tell because we have proof. Like that, my secretary is my partner. She joined as my secretary. She has become a chartered accountant today. We measure people on 6 parameters. Segment 1, we measure them on personality traits. Okay, segment 1, we measure him on personality traits. Segment 2, we go on firm values. Segment 3, professionally, what has he done? Segment 4 is knowledge. Does he have knowledge for it? So there are only 2 segments which relate to the profession. The first is for personality, second is firm values, professional knowledge, key aspects, and unique to Gurujana. What is the unique thing is something we built. So if you see each of the segments, if you take the personality traits, there are 5 traits. We expect every member who joins the organization to have gratitude. And I'll tell you how do we measure this. And these are the 5 stupid things which that a colleague of mine from PwC came and he made this. I was also from PwC, by the way. This guy came and told, what nonsense is this? There is no designation in the office. He created, fought for 1 year, and I surrendered to him. And today he tells Guru, what have we done? We should not have designations, but unfortunately people have got used to it. That also we tried to make it very careful because he's a member, he's not an employee. He becomes an associate, that means he works with somebody. He becomes a captain, that means he has got a team. He's not a manager, he's a captain, he leads a team. These two designations are governed by law, we can't change it. The law wants us only to do this. So every member has to have gratitude. If he is accepted by the team, and if you see here, very strangely for an organization, we have got a spiritual connect. Somehow we believe that unless a person understands that it is nothing related to religion, it is nothing related to rituals. Just because I do a sort of a prayer every day, that does not mean I'm spiritually right. It's a way of life. Whether you are doing the rightfulness, are you following your dharma? So if you're following your dharma, then only you can become a partner, otherwise you cannot become. And each of these parameters, if you see every single of them, there is a science behind everything. We have a process behind everything. I'll come to this example for respect all time and views. We expect every member should have this, every associate, every captain, every practice leader partner. If he has to become a partner, every cell has to be blue. It cannot be anything other than blue. We explain the depth of each of this respect all time and views. Now, how do we respect? How do you create respect in an organization? I give you some principles, but how do I take people out of respect? Suppose somebody is joining my office. So if you want to respect people, we have to filter them in the organization before they enter. If a wrong guy enters the office, we are in deep trouble. Today we are 417 people, and it is such a joy. I don't get a we have a HR feedback form. Not one form comes. We have a complaint box which is unanimous. Not a single complaint has come till today, and it's proven by record. We have a disciplinary committee. It's now 18 years. There has not been a single case of disciplinary committee. We have a confidentiality clause with everybody. We don't have a single. In fact, I can vouch that there is no politics in the office. There is no groupism. There is no politics. Ye mera hai, tera hai. So it can be very small things. We don't call it as audit division. We call it as audit team. Yeah, what difference it makes? No, it makes a lot of difference. It's a team. It's not a division. We're not dividing the organization. We are calling it as a team. So when it comes to respect all, if I get a wrong guy into the office, it's a mess. So when a guy enters the office, we first have to gauge. So whenever the physical interview was there, of course, now we are trying to reinvent new methodologies, new measurements. When the physical interview was there, he has to come to office. When he comes to office, we do 5 or 6 things. We have a visually impaired person in the office. His name is Shivu. If you observe our office, we don't have a reception. We've removed the reception because the philosophy that when I'm doing my dharma, the client is giving me business. I can't make him wait in the reception. I have to receive him. The word reception itself is wrong. I have to be receiving him. So as a rule, what we tell is whoever comes to the office, they have to be received. So most of the times, the partner will be there. Most of the time, the partner will be there and he will receive them directly. So there is no reception cabin. So when an article or a clerk or a chartered accountant or a lawyer enters the office, the first observation happens whether they have wished Shivu, the front office who is disabled. And what did they speak to them? Obviously, anybody comes to an office and he sees a visually impaired person, "Yen hagidira, kise aap log?" We obviously ask. Or will you just scribble on the attendance security register and walk in? The moment he walks in, the Shivunagendra, the person, he will call up HR and tell 1. What do you mean by 1? That means he's failed. 2 means he has passed. 3 means exceptional. He gave me something or something. He calls up and tells 1. So Rekha, the HR, will mark 1. Then we make him climb. We tell him, please don't use the steps. And the office is designed in such a way that from any corner of the office, you can see any corner of the office. There is nothing which can escape your eyes, except one conference room which we have built for clients. The two, it is translucent. It is not opaque. So we keep observing what does he do when he sees the photographs. And our photographs are very, very pretty. So when the guy climbs this wall, every floor people observe which photo he saw. Because you can make out if he's seeing Rashmi's photo, Rashmi is gorgeous. If he's seeing that photo twice or thrice, we mark 1, 2. Then he is made to sit in the waiting room. There is not a waiting room, it's an open hall. There is a round table. He is made to sit in the round table. 4 people around him again give marks. Whom is he seeing? What is he doing? What is he doing is very vital for us. Is he peeping into the laptop screens as to what we are doing, or is he minding his own business? They mark. Then it reaches me. A office help will give a small bottle of water. And generally we tell Kalamma to give the water. And she has a very beautiful smile. We observe whether this fellow told thank you to Kalamma. By the time the candidate reaches the HR interview, already HR has marked everything. What is his marks? So he has already got, these are the number of marks he has got, and we make him wait. When we make him wait, we see what is his reaction. Is he getting bugged up? We purposely make him wait 15-20 minutes. What is his reaction? So we make him wait, and HR makes the entire interview. Then the entire interview process, first round, second round, we make it chilled out. That fellow is coming with a open chest and telling, you want me. So first round, we actually sell the job to him. You will get that, you will get this, you will be treated like this, you will get this exposure. You know, Kiran from a janitor became a senior guy, 50 lakhs. 1st of January, we gave 6 cars. Every year, we gave 6-7 cars to people. We have constructed our own house called GJ Home, where people who are paying 10,000 bucks rent, they don't have to pay rent, they can pay 10,000 bucks installment, they own their own house. Like that, we have created 16 apartments for people who stay with us for 5 years and above, so on and so forth. So we tell everything. That fellow come with a bloated chest. Second round, he comes to the technical round of partner, and partner doesn't talk anything about technical. He breezes through. And in fact, we see the confidence ooze out of him in the second round. In the third round, we finish him totally so badly. We make him feel as if he's a piece of shit. We take a chartered accountant and mince him to death, push him to the wall. The interview is a 1-hour interview, and most interviews I take. And we push him to the wall, and we make him almost telling that, how did you become a CA, man? How did you become a CA? Like that, we use the sentence. At that time, we see what is his reaction. What is this guy going to tell? Is he going to tell, who the hell are you, and walk out? Or does he show disrespect? Does he show defiance? Or if he shows defiance, is it with respect and dignity? Or is he becoming a rebel? So we make a note of it. Only those people who pass this test, they get selected. So everybody who gets selected, we call them and ask them, did you think you will get selected? 90% have told, no, we never thought we'll get selected. And all of them get selected. And these are the guys who build the organization. So that is the small thing of an interview process. We have brought in a lot of technology in the process. We have included a huge amount of tech. And the tech is so beautifully structured. We had a huge issue on performance management. People are telling, Guru, you tell we are an open organization. What nonsense is this? You are not even organized in doing PMS. It is taking 3 months to do PMS. Oh, that's a very valid feedback. We should change it. So we made a simple method of a PMS. It's a simple spreadsheet of 8 or 10 points, where 6 parameters are attitudinal, 4 parameters are work, not a single parameter of business development. In fact, we are looking for some very senior leaders who will head the firm for our new vision. And the JD goes like this. JD is, don't do business development. We don't want you to get business. We don't want you to sell proposals. We don't want you to do collections. We don't want you to do any activity which will do client mining. So everybody is shocked. What type of role is this? Your role, be happy, do work happily, full stop. That is the job description we have released for senior leaders in the office. And we are actually finding it difficult because people are not able to believe, what nonsense is this? How do you keep up all these things? What is this? And we are not getting people, especially from the big 4. No, this काम नहीं चलेगा. In fact, Chinmay, when he joined our office from Big 4, he asked, Guru, how do you get business? I told, that's a separate session by itself. I would love to explain to you how do we get business. But the biggest year was COVID year. COVID was the largest year. We grew by 35% in 1 year. We increased our turnover by 10 crores and our EBITDA went up to 60%. We do a turnover of 42 crores now, and we have an EBITDA of almost 23 crores. All clean. So COVID was a fabulous year. So we know how to get business. So I told Chinmay, I don't know how do we get business, but business comes to us. People will call us. There is not a single interview. I'll give a simplest of the example. I went for a client pitch and they were all the Big Four, and I saw in the security register, my name was also there. In fact, my boss from Big Four had come to make a pitch. So I went there and there was a boardroom. I was making my pitch and I told them, I have a PPT, but I feel very small to show the PPT in front of all these stalwarts who have come. But all of you are entrepreneurs. I'll just leave you with this sentence. You guys think over and let's see what to do. So I just told the sentence, if you give it to the Big Four, they'll do fantastic work, much better than me. They'll obviously charge a lot more, which you can afford. But there a manager is working for you, here a owner is working for you. You are an entrepreneur, you can choose. We walked out. We got that mandate, 1.3 crore mandate per single client. And it was shocked. And my boss from Big Four called up, Guru, what all nautanki you fellow are doing? How are you getting business? No, sir, we are getting business. We get business so easily, so comfortably we are getting business. So we built in a tool for performance management system where the member would rate himself 6 parameters and 4 parameters, and he gets 1 month to rate himself. He can rate at his own pace. Then it goes to his immediate partner. He's called the engagement partner, and he has to rate him in 1 day. If he doesn't rate him in 1 day, he does not get the opportunity to rate. It goes to the senior partner. The senior partner will have to rate him in 1 day. If it does not rate him in 1 day, what the member has given will become his increment. If he has given, I want an increment of 300%, he gets the increment. So that is how we built in a system that he gets the increment on these lines. So then what we told is, the parameters, in case you are not happy with what the senior partner has done, what the senior partner has done is your increment. It goes directly to the HR through a tech tool. Automatically through an AI tool, he gets his increment letter, and one goes to the payroll team. You'll be given a 15-day period to talk to the partner and arrive at a conclusion. If you don't arrive at a partner's conclusion, whatever you have proposed and whatever the partner is given, we just take the average and increment is over. People are unhappy sometimes, but 99% are happy. Our manpower turnover ratio is 4%. So these are few practices we have, and every practice I have a reason. I can tell you why we did this. No goals. We had a vision that we have to become the top 20 in the country, and we did achieve this. We are very proud to tell we achieved it with a lot of humility, of course, because the entire world is looking at us where we'll fall. And our profession is a very unique community. Today, out of the 308,000 chartered accountancy firms in the country, everybody knows us. There's not a single CA. If you go and ask your CA who is Gurujana, they'll know us. I'll be very surprised if they don't know us. So where we felt a stress on sales and target is, if you give a goal to a person, two things are happening. One biggest thing which is happening is, he is running after the goal and he does not know that he can achieve more than the goal. You're restricting his mind. Suppose you tell somebody, boss, you have to achieve a sales of 18 lakh rupees this quarter. In all possibilities, that guy may be having a possible competence of making 25 lakhs. Why am I restricting him to 18 lakhs? The second happens is, suppose somebody is an average guy and you give him a sale target of 18 lakh rupees. You're only going to have a demotivated employee. So we have to understand that all human beings are different. One person is a master, one person is an average guy. As long as I can reward him on what he has done, whatever he has done, each individual member has got his own P&L account. A person can come and ask, Guru, I want the profit to the company of 80 lakh of rupees and you are giving me 12 lakh rupees increment. I want 24 lakhs. Look at my P&L account. Each member has his own P&L account. He knows his proposal. He knows his cost. He knows his overheads. Overheads are 14% fixed target. Anything above 14% the firm has to pay. If it is less than 14%, it is distributed among all the members. Suppose my overhead becomes 12%, 14 minus 12, 2% we give it to all the members in equal ratio. So we do some strange practices. It works very well. So the guy who is going to perform will either way will perform. The non-performer, why do you want to kill him? Yeah, at least if you give him a target of 18, he is competent of becoming 14. But he will go to 12, the amount of push you do. So you leave him free, the chances he will achieve 14 is much more than the chances he will go 12. So because of these philosophies, we don't have sharing ratios. In fact, partnership deed changes every year. A partnership deed changes every year on 31st of the month. We have a concept of debit and credit. We have 13 partners and 9 leaders. So these 22 people are the management team. We all share equity in the firm. Now, if I tell we are all equal, and if I tell I am the founder partner, I need goodwill, that's stupidity. So there is no goodwill reserved for anybody. Goodwill is equal for everybody. Whether he's a junior partner or a senior partner, he gets the same goodwill. Very strange for Morgan Stanley people. What nonsense is this? But yeah, we have failed in hundreds of instances, but we have succeeded in thousands of instances. So that gives the answers that we don't want to do anything of that nature which will curtail the flow in the organization. Our variable pay parameters is such an interesting thing. We tell, okay, your salary is 12 lakhs per annum. Out of that, you have a anniversary bonus of lakh and 20. So 10 lakh 80 is your salary. 30% is variable, balance is fixed. Now, who fixes the variable? We tell you fix your variable. You are your judge. Why am I your judge? If you fix a variable telling that I have to come regularly to office on a daily basis, so be it. That is your variable. So you fix your variable. I will not fix your variable. So everybody fixes their own variables. And it has yielded results because if an accounting firm doing clean, honest practices, having a 60% margin, we have cash balances of 20 crores always. So, I mean, the proof of the success is there in the results.
I think we are open for questions. Anybody wants to unmute themselves, come on video and ask. Meanwhile, we can check up if there are any questions already on the chat.
There is one question. Somebody wanted to know books. Yes, please. We have written 3 books. Please do buy them. We have a book called God in the Boardroom. It is about corporate values. I interviewed some of the biggest leaders in the country. The entire goes to our charity. It's on Amazon. Please do buy God in the Boardroom. We have another book called a cartoon book in the philosophy of make it simple. Because if the client has to be made simple, we have to explain it in the way it has to be made simple. We have a cartoon-based book called GST, Where Did My Profits Go? GST is a complex law. We have used GST and written a GST book, Where Did My Profits Go? Please buy that. Entire money goes to our charity also. The third book is a banter beyond the buck. It didn't do too well. It was one of our first amateurish books, but we are writing one more now called IC. IC is in the sense ICU, and it's also an integrated circuit. So it is written on behalf of Shraddha Eye Care. It's almost in the process of publication. We have interviewed people who enter the operation theater without eyes. And as soon as they open the eyes, what do they feel? What is the first thing you feel as soon as you open your eyes? And we have interviewed them and also shot the videos. So the book will have a sort of a QR code. So when I write the book, you can click the QR code and you can see the person talking. It's such a beautiful instance. Once we had the 30 patients standing and the doctor decided that day he wants to open all the 30 patients' eyes together. All the relatives are on this side. And one lady was shouting, "Hey, Ramesha, Ellidio, Ramesha, Ellidio." She does not know her son. How he looks, he does not know. And that fellow ran and told Nane Ramesha type. So it was a sort of it got tears into all of us. So that book is expected soon. Penguin is publishing that. The entire funds go to Shraddha Eye Care.
I think there was a question whether any of the employees have started a firm and taken your clients.
Oh, yes. In fact, we have a practice that if any employee opens a firm, we had 8 of them. Our practice is that they have to at least have enough business that they're not idle. So at least we convince 4 or 5 clients, please go to them, they're good guys. Please go. So and your cost will be reduced. Here we are expensive because we get too much of business, so we tend to be expensive. And we are a 60% profit margin game. So any employee starts practice, we give him at least files worth 20 lakhs or 25 lakhs to start his life.
Excellent.
But, so to demonstrate that we became so clean, we do several practices like that. One, office is a super white office. It's just a white flat thing. White represents cleanliness. And the second we did is we file our tax returns on the 1st of April every month. We are the first in the entire country. We call ourselves as first in a billion. So in case you are clean and you don't want to do any adjustment, if you are happy, if you are organized, if your solutions are simple, then it should work for us also. So we close our books on 31st of March, and first morning we sit down, sign the balance sheet, file it to the income tax.
But thank you so much. This is such an incredible session and really enriching. Guru, my question was, what is the thought process that goes into building such outlandish and maverick organizational practices? And once you do introduce it, do you kind of track the effectiveness, that the happiness, the trust, etc., that it's building? And then do you filter out some, or like, is it 100% hit rate?
We've never found the instance to actually filter it out, because see, if your intentions are right, you don't need to filter anything. And if you don't expect anything, your organization can take any decisions. See, we don't expect anything. This year my sales has to be 50 crores. I have to be earning so much money. If you don't expect anything and if you function without expectation, of course we expect performance. We expect high level performance from everybody. But if you can function without expectation, why would I need to expect anything? If I can function directly, life looks very easy. So that expectations is something which you will die managing all your life. As long as you are honest to yourself and happy, expectations will kill us.
So I think this is a good one to stop with.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much, Guru.
Thanks,
and
Guru.
we wish there are more happy organizations like Guru Anjana.
Thanks, guys. Thanks you very much.
See you all in our next Cosmic session.